Play one note on the synthesizer, you'll hear it's pretty smooth. But if I play two notes on the synthesizer right next to each other, you'll hear that's a bit more rough. Meanwhile, if I play two notes that are exactly an octave apart, that's a lot smoother than right next to each other. And the reason for this is that the frequency of this note is more or less an integer scale of this note, so it's some integer times the frequency of this note to make this note, whereas this is not some integer, it's some weird decimal that's not easy to quantify. And I'll show you on the scope why that matters. So here I have two waveform generators. Both are producing 5 volts peak to peak. And this one is running at 30 hertz, and this is running exactly twice, so an integer 2, the frequency, or 60 hertz, 30 hertz, 60 hertz. What you can see here on the scope is that we have this even pattern that happens exactly the same. Unfortunately, the sync on the scope does not seem to be very good, but you can see this is the same stable pattern. And here you'll see it's at about 0 volts, and here it's about 5 volts. So your 30 hertz signal is going like this, and here would be about the peak, but your 60 hertz is subtracting from it, so you get 0. Whereas here, basically they're adding up. So it's a little below 5 volts, that makes sense. But they're always adding, the 60 hertz is always adding and subtracting in the same spot on the 30 hertz cycle. So you get a stable signal. However, if I turn this down to 59 hertz, just slightly off, you will see that now the two peaks are kind of dancing around each other. And this is because now where the peak of the now 59 hertz signal falls on the 30 hertz signal is now changing with every cycle because it's not an integer scaling. So now if I set this down to all the way down to 30 hertz, so they will be matched exactly, you'll see we have a nice solid 30 hertz signal. But then if I knock it up to 31 hertz, so it's not 1 to 1, it is, well, 31 to 0, or 31 to 30 rather, you'll see the amplitude actually goes up and down and up and down, and that is the warble or roughness you are hearing when those two notes right next to each other are played.